Careful what you say or you'll get better.
Done.
Oh, everybody, I almost missed the opening. We're just kind of chatting along. I looked up, I'm like, holy shit, 4 seconds to live. Okay.
Yeah, you know.
It's
all good.
We'll get here when we get here.
Yeah.
Drink more coffee. We'll just wait for listeners before we start.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be a new concept. Make them wait for us. That never happened on another show.
Hey, John. Hello, Donna. Bob. Full disclosure. So this is going to be a nice kind of winging the topic for me this week. Had a big, long week training. It's the first time I trained post-COVID in about two years, I guess. So there was a lot of getting up early that I wasn't used to, traveling. So each night I came home, I even broke down and watched some terrible TV paranormal shows.
That's not hard to do.
That didn't work, did it?
It did not work.
That was funny. Dave's like, what are you watching that shit for?
To learn how to choke yourself? I'm like, what are you watching?
You can watch porn for that.
Wink,
Which is
wink,
much
nudge,
better
nudge.
quality.
Yeah. Anyway, in the chat, in our chat, weekly chat through our kind of correspondence on Facebook, we talk with each other. Kenny had mentioned something about I don't know if I was running into a person. I certainly won't make it very specific just in case, but seeing a conversation or having a conversation earlier on that week about people or meeting someone that was absolutely enjoying or seemingly taking a lot of pleasure in, for lack of a better word, debunking everybody else's work, but would not turn that critical eye on themselves.
Right.
And I thought, well, why the hell not? I mean, we like to do that. I like to do that. It's a lot like peer review where you got to kind of just sit and take it. And it's good though. You learn from it. And, I really do. Like, I really think it's good to have all those skills and learn logic and you think about things and you look at other things critically, but all that really means shit if you can't turn that on yourself.
Right.
There's no value in learning it and practicing it if you just apply it to other people. The real value is doing it to yourself in your own work and letting people that you trust to give you honest responses do the same to you.
Yeah.
So that's about the frame of my topic. I really don't know what to do with that topic. I did like kind of just thinking about it today. I found an old clip from about 13 years ago of some evidence that I would have died on that hill in the face of everyone, swearing that I had captured the voice of a Scottish ghost or an Irish ghost. I have no idea why. I hope it plays well. I'm going to play it for everybody. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, maybe you can kind of get the idea of what it sounds like. But it was through the we got lucky. Someone else in the house was running audio at the same time. We had course recorders in different parts of it. We were at least that advanced by then, and timestamps. So when I sent out this amazing piece of evidence for everybody to listen to, just like we've got it, we're going to get rich.
You're going to be on TV.
Yeah, maybe.
I know a guy.
He sent back the a timestamp of the well, you'll hear it, you'll see, but it wasn't what I thought it was, and so it got rocked, and I had to suck it up and just say, yeah, it wasn't a ghost, but I thought it was. So I'll just kind of go there and think about ways that maybe mistakes that I've made, and some good ideas. I've got another one I'll play. I kind of think, one of my favorite sayings, at least for me, is coincidence is the bane of the paranormal. And I have a clip from my daughter when she was about 12 or 13 and one of her friends. And again, at the same time, this was a long time ago. It's going to be about 11 or 12 years ago. It's something else I probably would have stood on the hill and died in front of, saying that it was an absolute capture of real evidence of the paranormal and communication with the ghost. But that's it for me. If you guys want to talk about anything and you're open, I kind of left it really blank, so I apologize. We're just going to fill it in. Full disclosure, I was so beat this week. I'm getting too old for that. So I will pass it on to, look at that, Dave. I got the.
Oh, you got it right.
Very nice.
Wow.
I'm getting skilled.
So yeah, I traveled this week for work, which was the first time since mid-August, and that first trip in August was probably the first time since COVID had happened. So I've realized I'm out of condition from traveling. So yeah, I know it was a rough week. Spent the week down in the Florida Keys for a work conference, and I think John said he's drinking some bourbon. Nice. I had one night where I went to a hospitality suite with some of our business partners. I had 2 bourbons, and by 11 o'clock, I was ready to die. And the rest of the week was a wash. So I really didn't. I followed some of the conversation back and forth, and I think every time Tim or Kenny would propose a top, I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
I remember seeing that.
I'm looking at the ocean. Do whatever you guys want. I'll see you on Saturday.
I would have a thought, and I would see Dave would just, his response would be like, okay. And I'm like, I don't think he really thinks it's okay. I'm not sure. I'm going to keep going.
No, it wasn't that I didn't think it was okay. It's I didn't care it was okay. I'm like, whatever you guys want. I'm cool. I'm chill. No, I was tired. I got back, and it was just, you realize if you don't travel for a while, it's tiring. Anyway, opening thoughts. Yeah, we had a conversation kind of later in the week, which was good. That resonated more with me, and I paid attention a little more. And talking about people who maybe are critical of other people's data or evidence, but then they put theirs forth as true data or evidence of the paranormal. And I wrote back to Tim and Kenny saying that's something I've noticed the last, I'd say more than maybe 7 years, that I see more and more of that people are like, oh, I discount all of that other stuff or what you're saying, but my stuff, that's the shit, man. That's the real stuff. And I'm not sure if it's because they're trying to build their own credibility by trying to look skeptical of everybody else's stuff, or if it's an ego thing, or they are just driven by the fact that their experiences, as all of our experiences, carry more weight than somebody else's reports of things. So looked at that part of it. Then I saw the topic that Tim posted today, and then it's talking about the habits to avoid those pitfalls of biases, and started writing a whole bunch of different notes. And I think some of this we've covered before, and it's basically, be aware of some of your shortcomings and how do you address those and how do you acknowledge those. That's one of the most important things. And some people can take criticism, others not so much. So it's always a good thing to talk about your strengths, your strengths. Know what your strengths are, know what your weaknesses are, but be willing to accept some criticism and really be willing to acknowledge that you're going to have biases, you're going to have weaknesses. Try to acknowledge those and try to correct them, and you're just going to be better for it. So we'll get into a bunch of that tonight, and I look forward to it. Should be interesting.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you guys are saying. I mean, I think it's hard. It's very difficult to turn that critical eye back onto yourself when we're looking at other people's data or methods or quote unquote evidence, it's easy for us to point out flaws. It's easy for us to criticize others, especially when it's a group or a team or individual that's doing it different than we are. Then it's really easy to fall into that idea that, oh, I don't like that. That's not the right way to do it. And you can point fingers. But when you hear someone point out a flaw in yourself, it's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I'm fucking awesome. I do everything right. My stuff's legit. I make sure I check this. I make sure I check that. And what I've seen over the years is that those kind of people don't do shit. They really don't do everything they claim to do. Many people like to say that they do. And the only way to really do that and to no, I do. I have so many flaws. So many flaws, but I appreciate
we don't have enough time for that list.
That's a whole show on its own. That's like a month of shows. But looking at ourselves, we have this image of ourselves, this idea of how we are, and it's easy for any of us to say, oh yeah, I checked that. Oh yeah, I checked that. And sometimes checking it means, oh yeah, I looked at something real quick, but I didn't do it. For instance, I mean, there's what's the one quote? When people say, oh well, you know what, this is a ghost. I saw a ghost down the end of the hallway. It was a shadow, and I looked around. I didn't see anything. So what else could it be? And it's not just a question like asking legitimately, hey, what else could this be? It's going sarcastically, what else could it be? I checked it. I looked at everything I could think of. And that's the mentality that if I can't think about it, if I can't figure out something, then it must be legitimate, and it must be really paranormal or something like that, which just sounds silly when I say that. Really paranormal. Like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't know. But yeah, turning the critical eye onto ourselves and the double standard. And that's really what it comes down to. When you have a set of rules for other people, but when it comes to you, those same rules do not apply. And that's something that we really need to look at and make sure that we're not doing that. And sometimes it's hard. And I'm lucky enough to have people like you guys to say, well, didn't you do that? I'm like, fuck, yeah, I did. You're right. I got to fix that. You're absolutely correct. So looking at the double standards, which we can get into more as we rotate and talk tonight. But double standards are out there all over the place. And I see it a lot, especially at conferences. People say, well, they're using that piece of equipment. That doesn't work. I'm using this because I got it from a real guy. This one was on TV. So this is legit. That's not, because that's not on TV. That's a knockoff.
I made this one.
And, it's like, yo, jackass, it's the same fucking part inside. Just a different case. That's all it is. So
and I think we've covered some of that from both sides in prior shows. We've touched on things. The pseudoscience side of it, the pseudo-skeptical side of it, and now it seems like we're just kind of meshing it together, but taking a little bit of a different spin. So you'll probably hear some topics or points we've covered before, but I think it's going to be kind of a new thing, the way we spin this particular topic, about how to kind of take that and how do you correct yourself before you make an ass of yourself, really.
Right.
Yeah, I can't stress. I think you hit on it.
Damn it, John. I need more energy. Fuck you. I got to take a break.
Where are we? What? Oh.
God.
Look, I am tired enough. If I drink enough, I will fall asleep at the helm. So.
And the show will never end. You'll pass out.
Tim, you got to alter your coffee to alcohol ratio tonight.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
I actually kind of took it off, took it easy on the alcohol inside the coffee tonight. But I did put a good amount in there. But just kind of getting back, I like what Kenny pointed out. You just having people that you trust to tell you you're fucking up, but like you're making a horrible. You're getting ready to make a big mistake. And we're lucky. I guess we're lucky. I think everybody probably has that. Maybe there's some, but it's just good. We're lucky. We can have disagreements. We can talk about mistakes that we make, and no one goes away upset or butthurt. Maybe disappointed that my idea didn't work. I was like, well, shit. I thought a haunted cream pie business would have been great, but apparently I didn't think about it. I don't know, just anything. I like that. I like that we can do that. We've certainly met people that can't.
We have,
I think more than enough.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it's almost like a way. It's difficult, I think, for us individually to go that deep in introspection about what you're doing and the possibility of your correctness or error, and what decisions you're making and what methods you're using. And I think that's kind of like where along the line someone came up with the peer review. And sometimes you just got to put it out there and let someone that you trust look at it and tell you what's strong about it. It's important to hear what's strong about your ideas. It is important to recognize that you have some flaws in there, and it's okay. It's okay. You're going to live. It's okay to hear. There's nothing that's going to be terrible about it. But yeah, that's some of my ideas and where I'm at. And I thought I saw a question. I'm sorry. Did I see a cue?
I see one at the bottom, John Kennedy.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone look into the fallacy? It's not well known, but it's interesting. Did one of us do that during our fallacy show?
Yes. Familiar. I remember that one. And I
fallacy.
Look at all three of us like click.
I'm trying to look back at my notes.
Fallacy definition.
I don't think I covered it. Let's see it in my notes.
Fallacy. Your logical fallacy is the fallacy.
Oh, here it is.
What is this?
This is an argument that is based on false claims that is logically coherent. That definition itself is fucking confusing. All right, so you're going to argue the argument, you're going to base it on a false claim, but it's actually logically coherent. So here's an example from website. What is it? logicalfallacies.org. Jenna thinks we should do yoga before work because it is natural and is said to relax you. Miles thinks we should also smoke pot before work for the same reasons. Hey, I'm in agreement with both of them. Whenever it rains, the sky is cloudy. The sky is cloudy now, so it must be raining. So it's logical, but it's based on a false claim. So okay. Yeah, that is interesting. So, and you do see that in the field, and you see it again. This isn't just believers or not believers; it's both sides. But you can see somebody who makes a false claim, but they can support it through some sort of logic. The logic is there, but it's supporting a false claim, so it's still false. It's an interesting fallacy. It's actually, to me, one of the more fascinating ones. Like, because, a lot of times you want to say somebody's not being logical. You're not thinking this through. You're not being logical. But sometimes you're like, well, fuck, that is logical, but it's still a false claim.
Right.
And I guess the question is, and I'll toss it back to you two as I close out my comments on this one, is, I guess, how do you counter something like that? Because as we know, telling somebody that's just false, wrong, that's going to sometimes backfire. They're going to dig in further, and then they're just going to continue to pursue with the logic, which their logic might be right, but then how do you still argue that they're false? So I'll toss it back to you guys.
I think that you just have to dig into it. If somebody's making a claim, and whether they are making a seemingly logical argument for it, and it's false, or if it's actually false, you really have to dig into the claim. What are they saying? Let's look into it. Let's go back to the beginning and retrace our steps and go and follow this out to see what conclusion comes up. That's the best I can come up with. I mean, it's when you have a poor argument for something, And I'm looking at the claim too, the definition of the claim. So it's possible to make a claim that is false, yet argue with logical coherency for that claim. So you can sound like you know what you're talking about, and it kind of makes sense, but the claim could still be false. And that, I think, that right there is why you need to go back to the beginning. Whatever they're claiming happened, we have to go right to the beginning and start over and see, did we go astray somewhere? Did we miss a step? Did we make a mistake? Was somebody fuck up the math? Which wouldn't be me because I don't do math. So, but where did we make a mistake? And
Right.
just let's check it. Let's check our work. And if we go the other way, because the other part of that is just as it is possible to make a claim that is true and justify it with various fallacies or poor arguments. So you could have a claim that is true, but if we focus on somebody using a logical fallacy in their argument for it, we can't just dismiss the claim. So we still have to go back to the beginning. Like, all right, you used a logical fallacy, you had a poor argument with it, but there might be something to it. Let's start over and retrace our step. I've been drinking since I got home. So
Good job.
Yeah, for me, I think going back to the beginning and starting over.
You know, I think I can play one of those clips here that might fit into this a little bit. Just where, again, just to go back, and if anybody's kind of just joining, I picked up some old clips that, again, it's like 12, 13, maybe some of them might be 14, but probably between 12 and 14 years, where just based on what happened and what we were doing at the time, it was one of those things that I was still, I was in that mindset. And I'm telling you, like, I would have, I really had that feeling like we really got something, like we really captured. This one isn't going to be a voice, but you'll hear a way of communication with something that wasn't there. I don't know, maybe a ghost. I don't know. But this just kind of goes back and reminds me of, how I like to say that coincidence is the bane of the paranormal. So for some background on this, I will say that, like, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Greenbrier Ghost.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So we had an opportunity to do several places in Lewisburg, which I just absolutely love that town. It's fantastic. And one of the things that we got to do was go into the courthouse where the actual hearing took place. So I don't know what we have. I have no idea what it is. It's something that ticks. It makes a noise, and it's you can adjust the speed of the ticking by, I guess, a rheostat. So you can make it go faster or slower. My daughter and her friend decided to go in and try to communicate with something inside the actual courtroom. And I don't know, I'll just play it from there and I'll let you guys hear it. And you'll see maybe where you can see I made my mistake and what other things I didn't think about. But I'm going to share my screen.
Yay.
Yay. Got the sound.
Yay.
You good?
He's good at this.
Here we go.
Make that tick higher if you don't like us being scared. Higher than that. If you don't like us being scared of you, make it tick higher than that. Come on. What if you like us being scared? Make it tick higher if you like us being scared of you. Holy crap.
Could you hear it take place? Did you hear the ticking?
I heard the ticking, like tick, 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 and then all of a sudden it went tick, 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 tick.
Mm-hmm.
Like a machine gun kind of thing.
Yeah, so my daughter was the one that was asking if you don't like us being scared of you, make it tick faster. And then her friend pops out with, if you like us being scared of you, make it tick faster. And then you heard
Right, because if you don't get a response to one thing, you change the question.
Mhm.
That seems like a good way to go about it. Instead of just marking it down as a negative response.
So
Or
is
Stop
there
ruining
anybody?
my fun, Dave.
Is there anybody that did everybody hear it? Do you think? I don't. It looks like everybody kind of heard it. I don't know if I need to play it again, but if so, just let me know.
I
Any
would play it
comments?
again just to make sure now that everybody knows what they're listening for.
Okay, here we go.
Make that tick higher if you don't like us being scared. Higher than that. If you don't like us being scared of you, make it tick higher than that. Come on. What if you like us being scared? Make it tick higher if you like us being scared of you. Holy crap.
So I cut out like the rest of it where they are talking shit and screaming inside of the courthouse, which was hilarious.
So what was it that was it like a metronome or?
I honestly, I cannot remember what it was.
Hmm.
It could have been some type of EMF meter that was just already ticking, which could be a clue as to what was going on if I remember what it was. I'm not sure if it's just something that we found or came up with to try to make, use the energy and the electricity in the room to manipulate this. I don't know. Well, I had to say it because it's probably what we were thinking.
Okay.
You know, I gotta say, even though we make fun of that's our drinking game, it does take me back to my ghost hunting days and how freaking stupid I was using that term when I think about it now. Like, how many times did I go, "Oh, the energy of the ghost does this and does that," and I'm like, no. Oh my god.
Can you see where after like having that happen, like I would be convinced that something was actually communicating.
Right.
Like I felt like absolutely. All right, Dave. I know I'm bearing my soul.
Where's those ghost hunting contingency table shirts?
This was a long time ago. But
okay, a long time ago, yes, I could see that. Yes,
in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, this was like 6 months ago. So, this is like, I don't know. It's probably. I'm trying to think. She's about that age. It's probably between 12 and 14 years ago. So, I was still in that area of, absolutely believing. So here's the thing. Like, I'll just, I felt certain that something had wanted my daughter and her friend to be scared. And I thought that was fantastic. Not so much now. But my error was, I just didn't think it through. And it kind of goes back, I guess, how we were talking about a fallacy, how when you take a little piece of it and you say, yeah, but look at this piece of evidence. There were 3 or 4 questions. And then why did it change after the second question when they changed it to do you like us being scared of you?
What else could it be?
What else could it be? Yeah, it was really good. That's a good point. What else could it be? Well, turns out there's a shitload of other stuff it could be. Number one, just a fucking coincidence. Sorry.
Damn, Tim's got 2 F-bombs under his belt. And we're not even half hour in yet.
Okay, I'll calm down.
I love this.
But even then, if it's a coincidence, there's a lot of problems even running a statistical analysis on something like that, even if to determine if it was a coincidence, because you're asking the same question multiple times, you get nothing. Then you switch the question, and then the time between the questions is all over the place. So you can't even analyze it, and you're not even sure what the hell was taking, how it works, what could have been affecting it. I mean, there's just a whole list of at least procedural problems. And yeah, because it did start speeding up, who knows? Maybe it's something that at the end of it, if you had to wind it up, who knows? Maybe it's got a loose mechanism. Maybe it ticks faster, it has a gap, or something happens at the end. But
Right.
yeah, it's coincidence. But in order for you to determine that, you have nothing, at least in that clip or what you presented to us, to argue that it would have been nothing more than coincidence.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you had a whole bunch of other data that they answer, or they asked, let's say one question for a certain period of time, they waited for an answer, asked another question, waited a certain period of time, and then they had a predetermined, and actually if they had a way to measure the frequency of the clicks, so you could see what the actual frequency was, and then looked at it for response, no response. I mean, the ghost hunting contingency table t-shirts, that would perfectly set it up to take a look at it. But the way it's laid out, the only thing you could do is come in and have a couple scared kids say that, oh my God, it sped up when we asked a certain question. It wanted us to be scared.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they're going to be scared. They're kids in the dark trying to talk to a freaking ghost. So when something happens, somebody could have farted and they would have been scared because there was a response. I mean, yeah, I mean, I from a data and a method standpoint, there's a ton of shit that you could say was wrong with that.
So I like this because this is the kind of thing that I get presented, and with absolute certainty that this is real and this is legit. This is proof of a ghost communicating. This is the type of clip that I'll receive, and it's like presented, and it's exactly, the scenario plays out exactly like what you did, Dave. It's you're presented with this clip, and you made a strong argument saying, just from this clip, there's nothing to go on.
The context is too
right. It's very small. The rest of it, whatever other information that we could get in this scenario, is asking the person that was there, asking questions and relying on their perspective and their judgment and memory, and if they really did stuff. And sometimes this is where I find where it's like, all right, well, did you check this? Oh yeah, we checked that. And when I hear that, oh yeah, we checked that, I'm never sure. I don't know if they checked it, because if we go back, there's scenarios where I go back and check and find out, oh, well, you didn't check this. You didn't check the batteries if they were fresh, or you didn't check the device to see if, as Dave suggested, at the end, does it speed up? Is it like the last few seconds where it does speed up, and that's telling you, hey, you need to wind me up again? There's so many variables that we don't know about. And I think this is where criticism comes into play, where it's that double standard. It's easy to look at someone else's clip. Like Dave can look at Tim's clip and say, oh yeah, there's this problem, there's this problem, there's this problem. But as you said in the beginning, Tim, back then, that was a hill you were willing to die on. So you guys, which would be great, I'd get popcorn, would be fighting over this, arguing.
Yeah, but 10, 15 years ago, 20, whatever, however long ago it was when we all first started, I probably would have freaked out and said, hey, that's something pretty good too. But with experience, and questioning things and understanding how the world works a little bit more and applying data analysis, that's why I would ask those questions. I mean, I wouldn't probably be as belligerent as I'm razzing you and Tim about it, but
that's good. It's fine.
But yeah, and I don't know, how would you set it up as a more controlled experiment? We actually did this at the house in Janesville when we were there. We had people who wanted to try the freaking flashlight trick. It's like, fine, okay, but we're gonna do it in a controlled, it was controlled because everybody was in the same room. Here's what we did. We were all in the same room. Before we even asked a question, we turned on 3 flashlights, or set them to where they would just turn off, right? So everybody's in the room, we set them there, and we let it sit for the same amount of time that we were going to ask questions. So let's say we're going to ask questions for 10 minutes. We sat in the room and we let it sit for 10 minutes to see if it would go on and off by itself with no questions at all. Then we started asking questions. We did not keep asking the same fucking question over and over again. You would ask one question and we would give 20 seconds for a response. And that was it. And then you would ask another question, a different question, and wait 20 seconds for a response, and so on and so forth until you had 10 minutes. And then when we were done, we waited, and then you would record if one light came on, two lights came on, three lights came on, whatever. And then at the end, we did another control run where we waited another 10 minutes to see if the lights would come on and off. And then we actually conducted a statistical analysis on it to see if there was any correlation to when questions were asked, the time period, how long it took for the light to come on and off. And obviously there was nothing. It did flicker randomly here and there, but you know what it most likely correlated with? The temperature in the room going up and the expansion of that little metal and the spring at the back that connects the batteries.
Yeah.
So that's how I would do it as a controlled experiment. The other thing is, even if you got a yes or no, let's say you got a bunch of yes hits, and if it was no, there was no light. How do you, it depends on the questions you're asking then. If we're asking questions about maybe what people are wearing in the room, like does Dave have a whatever sweater on? Yes, the flashlight flickers. That's a clear answer. But if you're asking, hey, ghost, are you a male? Turn on the light if you're a male. How the hell do you know if it's right or not? So there's some things you don't, unless you correlate it back to the reports of what people have said have happened at that location. If they claim it was a male ghost or a female ghost, then you can do that. So it's really setting up the experiment where you can analyze it and make some meaning out of the data. So that's the way I would do it.
I would set the flashlights up just off and have them turn it on, because I think the main variable here is the known variable is the thermal expansion. Is the when the bulb heats up the lens reflector and it expands and pushes on the spring, it makes the connection. So I would say you'd have to control for that and not manipulate it.
Yeah, that's why we did it the before and after for the same amount of time to see if it was still doing that, because the temperatures would have been ramping up when you're in there, and then they would have been pretty high at the end to see. And then by doing it, by analyzing the amount of time and the time it went on and off compared to the before and after, we just didn't see anything. So it was most likely just due to that. And the only thing we recorded was obviously an increase in temperature in there.
I mean, I would just,
we were trying to recreate it the best they were doing on the stupid TV shows at the time, just to show, okay, so that's what they do. Let's try it. Let's see what comes out. Okay. If you analyze it appropriately and you don't keep asking the same question, like some of those will be like, if there's a ghost in here, turn the light on. If there's a ghost in here, turn the light on. If there's a ghost in here, turn the light on. Blink. If there's a ghost in here, turn the light off. Holy fuck, it went off and on. It's like, oh, come on. Eventually, by random chance and heating and cooling, it's going to go on and off. So if you ask the same damn question over and over again, that's going to be your problem.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. Yep. It's going to cycle. And it just, I mean, I remember a couple times that I've attended events where they used it. Mm-hmm. You're able to time it. You're able to time the cycles and, do the whole ding, it goes on. Count, ding, it goes off. And it gets annoying because I annoyed the people because I kept doing that, like, on, and it would go on. I'm like, oh, off, boom, goes off. But you get to learn the cycle and you can time it.
Yep.
It's just, but that kind of thing still, like, if trying to talk about it and explain to, I guess, the person that's using it, that believes that it's really working, and trying to
ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
Oh, Dave.
That's my line.
Dave. You're going to get that song stuck in my head with those words now. I'm going to be singing ding, fries are done.
You are opening. Same thing. So
here's a question. Wouldn't it also be good to have 2 or 3 going at the same time?
it would be, I guess my comment there would be only if they were 3 of the exact same kind of flashlight, though.
And I would probably ask that they would turn on one specific one.
Ah, that's a good one, Tim. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to ask you, Tim, what the hell was the clicking? Did you figure it out?
I'm going to say, look, thinking about what we had back then, I remember we had one of those Dr. Goss EMF meters. Do you remember those?
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I know you have it.
Oh, I think wait. Yeah, hold on. I know I have one. Where is it? There it is.
There it is. I'm going to say that's what it was, and we were in the courtroom. Again, it was night, but I'm sure that there were a lot of electronics going around it. The clicking wasn't anything I think we adjusted. It was just happening. So looking back, that's a Scooby clue because it's picking something up anyway. I think. I'm not sure. I can't be positive, but I think that just the fact that I had an EMF meter in an empty room with nothing going on, it was clicking pretty steadily. That's saying something.
So the thing you would check for, because these do click.
Yep.
They do a ticking sound. So maybe perhaps there was something cycling.
Yes. Looking back now.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the Scooby clue that should have been in my mind, but it wasn't. I was like, fuck, we got a ghost. We're going to be famous. We got it. Like I was ready. But
he saw stars. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on TV.
How many years later, and all you got to show for it is being on this show?
I got 2 good friends out of it.
We're fucking famous. I mean, we're on mugs.
Some of us are paracelebs, others are not.
That's right.
That's for you, Dave.
Right back at you.
Nothing but love.
I will. I have another one I'll play in just a little bit. But here we have a question. Panasonic DR60. I don't know. I knew what it was.
That's the handheld. I have one. I still have one. Although I don't think it's the DR60. I think it's a slightly different model. All right, so yeah, I remember that. It's yeah. Oh my God, $4,000?
What?
Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Hold on.
I know my first thought of it.
eBay. Look, $4,000.
What the?
Buy it now. No chance to bid. Buy it now. That's it.
What do you get for $4,000?
You get the recorder.
Do you get all the original EVPs recorded on it too? Holy crap!
It looks like my old flip phone.
So yeah, that's it. I remember these. These were horrible because let's see. There's the microphone.
So, well, yeah, the internal mic, never good.
Right
Holding
there.
it in your hand, disaster. And then some of those older ones, the what is it? The analog to digital converters.
Yeah.
A lot of noise. A lot of noise. So
yeah.
I think somebody back in our group way back in the day used to run one of those, but they also used to run a normal analog. And I want to say it was a high-end Fostex with external mics. And it's amazing what you would hear on that you didn't hear you yourself didn't hear in the room at the time, or you don't remember hearing it. And then when you played back the old analog high quality cassette recordings, you'd be able to identify it right away. So I don't know. Obviously these days, some of the high end digital recorders are pretty damn good. That's a big difference these days. But yeah, that thing, if I'm remembering right, we had a lot of false positives, shall we say, with that piece of equipment.
Yeah. And I think I remember that it was discontinued because it had such bad quality issues.
That I don't know. But on the other hand, some ghost hunters argue that noise in the circuitry is what allowed the EVPs to be formed.
Oh God.
I'm
Never been proven out because that would be easy to
Right.
test.
Yeah.
Get the noisiest damn analog to digital converters you can, and then put them in a controlled situation. Oh, I don't know, Faraday cage or whatever. Ghosts should be able to fit in there. They're not very big, I don't think. And you should be able to do it.
Well, I mean, they're
fast.
little orbs, so they're like softball size.
They're no bigger than a dust particle.
Yeah, particle.
Anyway, moving on.
So yeah, those are our thoughts. Because I remember listening to that, and it was always that growl, that kind of noise. I was like, all right, they're all the same. Like everyone,
Well, it's
they're all
a digital
the same.
recorder. It's like, how's it growling? That's
Yeah.
something I'd be used to with an old cassette recorder.
And everybody was holding it. It was
Anyway.
hardly ever when it was put down. Again, it was put down on a surface that, like a table or something, so you can still have vibrate because people would put them on the table here, and they'd be working, doing stuff, banging around. I'm like, all right, yeah, you're no controls whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
Anomaly hunting. That's what we're doing. All right,
You ready for my second one?
second one. Go ahead.
I like this one because this one was about the time I was changing from going, I'm doing some dumb shit. I need to really think differently. But yeah, so we're at this house. It's a house that we've done several times. And, it's one of the places that you typically hear the phrase like, oh, it never disappoints. We always get something. There's always, paranormal activity. It's like one of those places. And looking back, I mean, we always did get something, but I don't know if that's because we were expecting to get something and we made something out of everything that we caught, or if there was anything there. May the Schumacher be with you. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Like that.
right up there with me. The Schwartz be with you.
Yes.
Oh my
Spaceballs.
goodness. You're a power celeb.
Oh,
Boy.
Vicarage you are.
Vicarage, you are. Nice.
So this is probably the other one. Like the other
You're
one
not sure?
that well, I feel like there's two. I really can't remember anything else like I would have died on. I got so excited over this EVP.
So let's stop there. If somebody brought this level of information to us, and I get it, Tim. It's been a long time, and we're
Oh yeah,
trying to identify.
I am
I
having
think
fun
this is
with
a good example because a lot of people come to you with stuff like this.
This is
So
why
to
I'm using it.
me, this is the very first problem. You
Mhm.
you don't have anything. I'm not criticizing you again. This is just about
No,
general
I-
comment.
Oh,
People
just go ahead. Let them have
they
it.
they don't bring you what the fuck they were doing. They don't remember anything. They don't remember the context. They don't remember the equipment. They don't remember anything. And it's like, here, listen to this. This is evidence of the paranormal. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Seriously.
Mhm.
I mean, this is a prime example of stuff that happens all the time. It's a good
Okay.
example, actually. It
Go
is.
get 'em,
It's a
Dave.
really good example because this is what people do.
Yeah, this is exactly why I found these to bring them on.
No, this is great.
Yeah, and I'm being honest by saying, like, I was at that level back then. Like
And the worst thing is, you're being honest. Other people aren't. They start making shit up. Like, oh, trust me, no, that was the way. Trust me, it was all controlled and all. It's like, come on. At least Tim's honest.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I was that back then. So I like that. I found this one because I made a video for the first time instead of like a splash reel with all the cool shit we caught. It was my first video of my mistake, and I still have it. It was about this. So instead of putting out, a splash reel with hot shit and all the cool, EVPs we got and shadows, like every other fucking thing we ever put out, I put out a video showing my error, and that's why I like this one, because it just kind of I think it feels like it marks the time I started to think different.
Were you
Cool.
kicked out of the group after that?
No,
Were you figured?
No.
He got vicared from his own group.
I do put out.
Whore.
I am who I am.
Yeah. that explains that
Anyway,
clicking
so
noise.
this I've chopped it up. It's going to have subtitles on it, so just it is what it is. But this is the one. I'll let you hear what I heard, and you'll see. And you might the sound. You might want to turn up your sound for it.
Setting this up.
Okay, so I'll leave it there. But I completely heard. I had said we were in this house. They bought this old house. It was 18 something. This beautiful Victorian style house. And I had said it was falling apart. It had been neglected for probably 25 years. And I had just said that. And I heard with this much trickery, that's got to be a demon. Oh, fuck. I was just like, there's a demon. There's an Irish or Scottish person talking about demons. And then like I had this idea, like the ghost thought we were the demons. I don't know. Like
So wait, you think the EVP was you've got to be a demon?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought it was you saying it.
No. This is
Okay.
what it's
Oh.
that's you can kind of hear like the change in it sounds Irish or Scottish. I don't know. I'll let you hear it again. But oops, I had wrong screen.
Hmm.
So at the time, like I thought in my mind, I thought this was a spirit or ghost inside the house, hearing us inside the house, messing around, making all kinds of noise. And the ghost was going, what the hell's going on? There's a lot of shit getting moved. It's got to be a demon. And I was like, we picked up a ghost talking about us, thinking we're demons. So I know.
Makes sense.
That's awesome.
I know.
love it.
But my friend Pat also had a recorder where he was, and this is what was said.
Wow. That's
So-
completely different.
Holy cow.
The difference was my recorder we had in the basement. His recorders where we were talking. So
Okay.
somehow through the material, through whatever, it got garbled and jumbled. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there you go. And I was ready for it. But it was that moment. It was pretty cool. I have to say, for me, it was that moment of being so sure, so confident in that thought that when I got kicked in the teeth with, presenting data to say, that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm really thinking about this all wrong. Like that was one of the moments I was like, I'm saying what I want it to be. And I need to stop that shit. And I started thinking about things differently. And this is from a video. I actually made a video going, look how dumb I am. Look at my mistake. And I put it out there because I wanted to, it was my first. I was like, I wanted other people to see, look at the mistakes I make.
Right.
I want to share this. And this was probably about 10 or 11, 12 years ago too. So anyway, that's it.
That's great because
Those are
it
good.
shows there's a couple things you can get from this is that one, you had two recorders going and it shows the difference in quality. because not only the quality of the recorders themselves, but distance makes a big difference. If you're farther away from one of the recorders, you can pick up this subtle sound. And then you also have to think about the acoustics of the building that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're at the top of a stairway, say like for maybe not a main staircase, but like basement stairs, which are usually more closed off. So you have like an opening that goes down and then it opens up into like a basement. So you have a tunnel per se. So if you're facing the top of that stairway and you're talking, your voice is going through, your sound waves that you're producing goes down that tunnel. But if you turn around and do something like this, your voice gets lower and it's not directed down there. So if whoever was saying that phrase about, you know, it would be a big mess right now, if they were saying it and got to the part where, yeah, this would be, and then turned away, their voice would trail off and it wouldn't go down in the direction of your recorder. And this is the kind of stuff that we have to think about. Mm-hmm. And experience would tell us this. And now we know, now this would be stuff that we would look for. But try to explain that to you years ago when you had this. You know, if we didn't have that other recording, this might go differently.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why it's so important to have multiple recorders when you're doing this shit. Go ahead.
So I just had this question, but I think she might have I get it. Never mind. Just in case, we were at least at this point in the habit of time stamping, saying our times when we started, and plus, you know, my recorder that I had was in the basement, and so we were in the first floor where his recorder was, and other recorders, but I just use his because it was very clear there. But you can hear my question, you know, or my statement, this poor house is falling apart. And you could just time it. It was the exact same time that, it started to answer. And it turned out it was just him. And the distortion, like you were saying, I can't remember if he moved. I just can't. But I can tell you that they were both the same. Same time. It was just pretty amazing to me, like the distortion through the floor, through the doors, the knocking and cracking you can hear on mine. I imagine we might have probably been walking around and you can hear it. You can hear the footsteps above that you don't really hear on his, just because it's amplified through the floor maybe. But yeah. Right.
So I think it's a good idea to, and I might be getting ahead of our conversation, but when you're doing your own investigation, this is why we shouldn't be going through. Maybe it's not always a good idea to review your own stuff. Like you collect it and then pass it off to somebody else so they can review it. Because I guess in the case of if you're the ghost hunter doing it, and I'm making assumptions here, if you already believe that the place is haunted and you're going in there to get your evidence because that's what you're planning on doing, that's what you're looking for. You're not looking to explain it or look for logical conclusions or logical explanations for something. You were going in looking for a ghost's voice. You're listening to that recording, listening for a ghostly voice or something talking about. Like you thought it was a demon. You're like, dude, oh, that's a ghost thinking we're demons.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I thought it was a ghost that was living in I don't know what the hell I thought, but they were upset that we were there causing a lot of shit, making noises and stuff. Yeah.
And then, just when you're going over your own data and you're looking for stuff, there is going to be a bias already there. And I think if you're not aware of your own biases, if you're not aware of what you're doing or what you might be looking for, you could pick out, you might start cherry picking and not realize you're cherry picking. You're looking for anomalies, and instead of explaining them, you're saying, oh, well, this is an anomaly. I don't remember this, or I don't remember somebody coughing, so therefore that's real. that I think maybe it's a good idea to pass it off to somebody else that wasn't there and say, hey, just take a listen. What do you hear? I don't know. This is really difficult because it's like, what do you do? Do you pass it off to somebody that has no idea what they're doing, or do you look for some kind of person with prior experience? This is difficult because it's a situation where you have a person that, and again, I'm going with the stereotypical ghost hunter that already believes that place is haunted, and this is probably what you were. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You thought it was haunted.
The priming was, this is a place, and I hear this sometimes, or I can't say I hear it, but I read it a lot. This is a place that, quote, never disappoints, or, quote, we always walk away with evidence.
Of course.
And this was a place like that for us. So anything we did, looking back, the bias might have been, we're not evaluating or measuring what we did. We are looking to confirm that this place never disappoints. And that's an error. And that's probably one of the things I was doing.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
So
what do
we have a pee break.
I think John Kennedy should be our official pee break monitor. And say, hey, we need a pee break. And then maybe we can come back and wrap it up or keep going, whatever. It's up to you. Your show.
I am I am ready to, whenever you're ready to wrap it up. My wife.
Just wrap it up then?
Yeah, well, she's coming in, and she's been in Puerto Rico, so I expect her in not too long. So I'd like to be there when she gets in.
Then let's wrap.
All right, let's wrap her up then.
Tim's gotta go.
Got a hot date tonight.
He's like, and I'm already buzzed.
And he puts out.
Right, I'll be asleep when she gets here.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna go to the couch like.
So I'll start with one of you guys for a final thought.
Okay,
John, hold tight. We're almost there.
Pinch it off.
Hold it. I'll go with Dave. What do you think?
All right. So anomalies, yes, that's what you're looking for. And not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but you got to make sure it's an anomaly that means something. That you're not just pulling something out that would have occurred by random chance or coincidence. So anomalies are interesting, but you got to be able to make sure that it's not something that would just occur naturally for a coincidence or a chance occurrence. So that's one comment. Couple other things, just a few comments talking about kind of self-reflection and what you can do to better yourself and prevent these pitfalls and biases. Get knowledge, learn, know your limitations, reflect on yourself, inspect what you've done in the past and critically analyze it. Get feedback and take feedback, critical and constructive. Understand your current beliefs and biases. Understand that your experiences, they're probably going to have more weight with you, but that doesn't always trump data. And it's not going to trump what other people experience or say. Acknowledge we all have biases. Be honest, drop your ego, realize that the TV shows are not the place to go for learning and to figure out what this stuff is. Ask for help, get outside opinions, ask experts, get alternate explanations, get outside your circle, your echo chamber, get outside and talk to people that don't agree with you. Obviously, the three of us, you think we agree all the time. We don't actually. Some of the behind the scenes conversations, we don't. And every once in a while on the show, we have, different opinions. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to get outside that circle in that echo chamber. Ask somebody to review your stuff, and remember, correlation doesn't always mean cause. You got to look at that. Don't ever be afraid to say you don't know. Don't make rash judgments. And don't forget to say, I don't know. And don't comment on things you don't know about. Just say, I don't know, and I'll get back to you. So that's kind of I think just a laundry list of stuff I put together of ways that you could hopefully avoid some of those bias pitfalls and make yourself a little more reputable and believable. That's it.
Nice. All right, I'll go next. Jumping right in here. Seek out other people's opinions. Yeah, we're looking for anomalies, but anomalies, as Dave mentioned, that doesn't mean paranormal. That doesn't mean something that's otherworldly and beyond science. That means something that's kind of out of place. It might be just a mistake. It might be a piece of dust. It might be, a bug flying around. It could be a dog walking through your house where you left your recorder all night and you just don't realize it's walking around and not barking and not making regular dog noises because it's just walking around. Make sure that, let's see, seek out other opinions, not just other ghost hunters. I mean, I know I've said this before, but you want to seek out people maybe outside of this hobby. Somebody that might have experience outside of this hobby, but in the particular area that you're using, like maybe audio or video or whatever. Seek out, and when you get that opinion, really consider it. Especially if it goes against what you already believe, and realize that you already have your preconceived belief. If you go into it thinking, oh, I think it's this, you have a bias. That's still a bias going in. So understand that. Also, I think, Dave, you mentioned this, you touched on this. Learn more. Read a book on the subject, like a good textbook or science book. Don't just say you read up on it, because I'll call your bullshit. If you do that, we're going to figure it out, because we're going to ask questions.
We will.
Yeah. Check things. If we asked if you check this and this, A, B, C, D, and you didn't, don't pretend that you did, because we're also going to figure that out. When we ask questions and we really start getting into it, we're going to figure out that you didn't check things that you claimed that you did. And that makes you look stupid. That really does. So save yourself the trouble there. Realize that you can make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes, contrary to what everyone else believes. I am not perfect. I do have tons of flaws, and I make mistakes. And although it's embarrassing when people point it out and you don't catch it yourself, I am still grateful that someone pointed out my mistake so I can fix it and make it right. Let's see. Don't insert paranormal when you don't know what the fuck happened, because you're making it up. You're literally making up a conclusion when you insert that. So stop doing that. Stop it. Stop.
It's a paddling.
Just say it's unexplained. Or say you don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, that's perfect. I don't know what this is. And I mean, I've said that dozens and dozens of times. I don't know what this is. I have to leave that experience or whatever until I have more information. And that's it. Move on to the next one. And that's pretty much it. I mean, look at yourself. Use that mirror. Look at yourself and make sure you're not giving yourself special privileges. Make sure you're applying the same rules and same filters that you apply to other people. Make sure you apply them to yourself, and that you're giving everyone a fair chance. You're on the same level. That's it. I am done.
I don't think there's a whole lot I can add to that. One of the things that I didn't hear, I kind of heard, I guess, but just I would say I love being able to say I don't know. And I would also say, don't be afraid of being wrong or making mistakes. You don't know your limits until you make the mistake or you find them. And then once you do, then it's okay to improve them. I like to say, share your mistakes and share your failures. And then maybe that will help somebody else. One, help identify maybe what you could do to become a little bit more strong in that area. And two, it might help somebody else from making the same mistake and going down and spending a lot of time that they don't need to spend time in the wrong place. And, Dave, I want to say, like, when you were me sharing mistakes, I love it. Like, right off the bat, that was my first instinct when it was to make a video and just say, look what I screwed up. and this is why I screwed up. I mean, it doesn't bother me a bit. I have going through this. I have like 3 or 4. Kenny, I see you saying you're backing up stuff like from a long time ago. I've got 3 or 4 external hard drives of ghost hunting and me doing science stuff in it. I don't care to share it. Like I really don't. The last time I was asked to speak at a paranormal conference was probably 5 years ago. And when I went, my whole presentation was on all the dumb shit I did, but I didn't title it that because they were kids. But it's basically all the stuff I did that was really, really bad. And I have never been asked to come back. So
I think that's awesome, though. That's an awesome show. That's an awesome lecture. The dumb shit I did.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome. You should bring it back.
Bunch of people sitting there thinking, did he just call us stupid?
Well, I didn't get asked back, and I still not been asked back. So that's my thought. It doesn't bother me to share my mistakes. It really doesn't. It doesn't. I enjoy it. I have fun with you guys. It was a lot of fun doing that. I love laughing at myself. I'm certainly not going to take myself so seriously. Like I can't say that. Like literally, those are 2 things. Like I would have just been like, I would die there. I would die saying, I have proof of ghosts. I mean, that's probably the way that I would have said it 12 years ago. Now, not so much, but it doesn't bother me to say that was my mindset back then. So I would recommend that for anybody. All right. So I'll make it quick. I've got nothing coming up. Dave?
Nothing.
Kenny? Well, Kenny's got proof of ghosts.
Actually, I don't think I have a podcast that I'm going to be on next week or something. I don't know when I'm going to be on. Where am I? December 9th. I'll be on a podcast called Crossroads. And that's pretty much it. Friday nights I do this little show called Skeptical Help Bar, where surprise I drink and we talk about we talk about paranormal topics, and sometimes I have a guest, sometimes it's open mic night and we just have goofy. Last night's show was just all over the place. And then I also do this other show Saturday night I do with 2 really great guys. And we talk about paranormal topics, and we drink.
A lot of bias in those statements.
But that's it. I mean, the holidays we're really getting into. Next week is Thanksgiving, right? So everybody, make sure I have a happy Thanksgiving. But
yes,
I have no more projects that I'm doing publicly. Everything is, I'm just going to focus on getting some stuff done. And that's it until next year, maybe like, I don't know, March. So that's it.
All right. Well, appreciate it, everybody. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully it's very safe. And thanks for listening. I had fun. It was a lot of fun tonight disclosing all my dumb shit. So there you go.
All right. It was fun.
All right. Have a good night.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Don't for chance, don't for chance, don't for chance. With the real, ghost of the day. With the real, what is real? Don't question me. Dave is about, Dave is out, Dave is about. Ghost everyone, I'm on TV. Don't for chance, don't for chance, don't for chance, don't for chance. And all what you say, you'll get better.